Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. You might have probably heard of a new endgame boss which was added to the game last week by the name Yama. Understandably so, a ton of people are making guides about the new encounter, but I haven't really seen many videos covering some important skilling updates which were added or buffed thanks to the new items. So let's take advantage of this and show you some cool new methods in old school RuneScape. Boys and girls, for every new subscriber and a like on this video, my puppy Moneda will get a treat and a kiss on her cute head. If you're looking for a chill community to play with, you can also join our Discord with the link in the description. So just like the time Valimor was released and the Fortress Coliseum was the star of the show, I decided to take a little detour and focus on some scaling and money-making methods which came into the game with the update. Thankfully, the addition of Yama means more things to do with items dropped by the demonic boss, and I will show you all the new ways to train many skills, experience per hour, and the GP per hour when applicable. I hope you're ready for some gains, and let's begin. I will start with mining because one of the ways to train in the new area got me a little confused, and I couldn't really find any video going over the new rhythm for tick manipulation, in case you want to go full degenerate mode and get as much experience and money per hour as possible. Don't worry though, we will start with the AFK method, the semi-AFK one, and then the 3 ticking. When you head into the Chasm of Fire, there's a new area in the northeastern part of the bottom floor. You will have to go through some black demons, but they might only land 1 or 2 hits on you before you head in there. Make sure to take your Prospector outfit along your best pickaxe to start making some money. Keep in mind that the Varrock Armor 4 does not work with the resources you will get from this place. The general idea of the mine is that you'll be collecting a new type of ore called Infernal Shale from the Red Rocks. You crush the Infernal Shale and to turn it into crushed Infernal Shale. You combine these with Oathblade shards to turn them into Infernal Nuggets. You turn Infernal Nuggets into Infernal Chunks. You turn Infernal Chunks into Infernal Plates. And finally, you turn Infernal Plates into pieces of the new Oathblade armor. You might be wondering, okay, what does this have to do with the mining method at all? Well, this is just so you know why this will almost always be a reliable money-making method for mining. Because as long as Oathblade shards are coming into the game, players will need to make Oathblade armor, and for those impatient enough, Infernal Shale will always be needed. So after a little detour, let's actually see the methods and the respective XP and the GP per hour. If you want something almost as AFK as star mining that actually gives a little bit of cash, the most AFK way to train with a new resource is by clicking on the rocks that look like the ones in Zalcano. You'll be getting Infernal Shale at an extremely slow pace, and just like star mining where you need to click every time the star depletes, you'll have 2 locations here which will alternate every few minutes. When you have a full inventory, use the hammer on the shale to crush it. As you can expect, this is nothing spectacular. I was on track to get under 10k experience per hour, and the crushed shale I got came out to be almost exactly 100k for only 40 of these. One thing I'll mention here is applicable for the following 2 ways to train, and that is that at the time of recording this video, each crushed shale was going for 2.5k GP, when the Grand Exchange Guide has them at just 78 GP. By the time you watch this, they will definitely go down a little bit in price, but I'm 100% certain that they will always keep their value because of what I mentioned before. Now, what if you want to get a little more experience and the GP per hour? For this, we are going to be mining the actual rocks in the small portion of the chasm. Side note, I'm actually kinda happy that they used the original model of the rocks that we all know and love, and didn't make some new fancy model like the ones in Prifinus. Depending on your mining level and your pickaxe, you'll be getting them a lot faster than the previous method. At level 99, you can expect anywhere between 25 and 30k XP per hour. And at lower levels, I'm pretty sure you won't be getting anything less than 20k. Money-wise, this was more lucrative in comparison, coming in at nearly 400k in just 10 minutes of work. Without paying much attention, this means I should be seeing profit of over 2 million GP per hour if you're there as soon as you watch this video. If not, you'll still be getting a decent profit. However, it won't be as decent as the fastest way to do this, which is a new method to tick manipulate to get a consistent amount of experience and the profit per hour, as long as you can upkeep the pace. We have several methods in the game which require tick manipulation like 3 tick granite, 2 tick harpooning, and 1.5 tick teaks just to mention a few. This time around, we have a new item which makes us forget about using items like swamp tar or teak logs. Talk to the imp in the area, and after some dialogue, tell him that it is a little hot down there. He will give you a wet cloth, and if you click on it, your character will wipe his or her forehead. This might not seem like much, but it provides an animation which allows you to tick manipulate your next swing at the rock, and nearly guarantee some resources from your next action. It took a little while to find out how to properly do this, but after one of my good pals told me how he did it, I finally found the rhythm, and it's not as sweaty as other tick manipulation methods we have in the game. When I started learning this, I said the following words out loud every tick. If you want to try this, repeat after me and follow the video. I went cloth, move, rock, 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 and so on and so forth. When I got a full inventory, I simply spam-clicked the hammer on the shell to continue after a few seconds. Skilled gamers could potentially crush the shell in between actions, but honestly, this is already sweaty enough. After 10 minutes, I was on track to achieve 60k XP per hour, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw that the shell I mined was worth 850k GP, meaning 5 million GP per hour. So if you have what it takes, come here for some juicy spoils as you train the mining skill. You guys know that I will be on top of any update related to runecrafting, and Yama is no exception. One of the items dropped by the demonic boss is called an Aether catalyst, and this will let us combine both soul and astral runes into a new one called the Aether rune. It is yet to be seen where these will be useful, and what combination of runes in your pouch will let you cast as many spells as needed for the respective activity. But let's see how to make them, which is profitable as of right now. The very first thing you should know is that because of the lack of a true soul altar in the game, like the one that was added after Sins of the Father under Myardich, Aether runes can only be crafted at the cosmic altar located in Xanaris. Maybe a cool update in the future could bring a soul altar for an alternative way to make our own soul runes. Trivia aside, for starters, you will need level 90 rune crafting to make these new runes. For quests, we are looking for Lost City, Fairy Tale Part 2, Lunar Diplomacy, and the Temple of the Eye. Mandatory items for this process are the Aether Catalyst, Soul Runes, Pure Essence, and the Magic Imbue spell on the Lunar Spellbook. Simple enough, right? Well, we have a slightly chunkier list to make this even better and more profitable, so here's what I personally recommend if you want to take full advantage. Since these are combination runes, you want to equip a binding necklace to have a 100% chance to craft these, otherwise this drops to 50%. You will lose 1 charge for every inventory of combo runes you craft. Next up is a Colossal Pouch to take 40 additional Pure Essence per trip, and also from Guardians of the Rift you want a full set of Raiments of the Eye to craft even more runes. Close that out with a Rune Pouch to hold the runes to cast a Magic Imbue, teleport to a Fairy Ring and to a bank, and if you have a Ring of Endurance, it will come in handy for sipping on those stamina potions. Okay, that's a lot of requirements, but you know I take my rune crafting explanation seriously. The way to do this is as follows. Go to any bank of your choice, fill up on Pure Essence, and then teleport to the closest Fairy Ring available. My Max Cape lets me teleport to my house and the Crafting Guild, and good substitutes for this are the Quest Cape and the Ring of Dueling. Once there, right-click on the Fairy Ring to Xanaris. You are going to run south just like in the Inferno, and then click on the closest shortcut which will make you run to the altar faster. My Max Cape acts like the Runecrafting Cape which lets me interact with any altar, so instead of that, add a Catalytic Tiara to your Runecrafting hat. Once inside, activate the Magic Imbue spell while running it to the middle, and then use the Soul Runes on the altar which will put Aether runes in your pouch if you have an empty inventory space inside. If you remember, crafting Soul Runes does not have a delay anymore, and you can click on your Rune Essence pouch and use the Soul Runes on the altar at the same time. Make sure not to click on the altar itself, because you will create Cosmic Runes which is less experience, but still a little bit of profit. During my testing, I only made this mistake once, so not that big of a deal. Once done, teleport to the bank of your choice and fill up your Rune Essence pouch to repeat the process. Remember that you will need to wear another binding necklace after a while, and sip a dose of stamina potion when you need to. Even with the run energy changes, you will still run out eventually. So that's it about the process, and now let's take a look at experience and GP per hour for this new rune crafting method. I did this for 20 minutes and I was on pace to get above 90k experience per hour. This is not as much as lava runes or the ZMI altar, but a lot better than training methods which require level 90, like Wrath runes coming at around 40k XP per hour, and Soul runes at Zaya for around 30k. It is a little more click intensive than either of these, but over double the experience per hour that you would get with these two other methods which require level 90. The juicy part is the profit. And keep in mind that I tested this 3 days after Yama came out, so Aether runes could potentially lose a bit of value as time goes on. In those 20 minutes, I was able to craft 2300 Aether runes. The interesting part is that I started with 5000 Aether and the Soul runes. but ended up with 2600 Aether and 3500 soul runes. This means that when you craft additional runes thanks to the runecrafting outfit, you will use 1 extra Aether every time this happens, but not a soul rune. So for the moment of truth. Crafting Aether runes at the time of making this video comes out to be roughly between 2.4 and 2.8 million GP, depending on your clicks and your luck with the multiple runes crafted with the Rainments of the Eye. Again, at the time of making this video, this is very competitive with other runecrafting money-making methods like double nature runes if you have a diary cape, wrath runes, and the blood runes. The last thing I'll mention about this method is that I took these materials to Guardians of the Rift to wait for the cosmic altar to open up, and if you have done this minigame with combination runes, this is now an extra option you can do for more money, more experience, and more points. I personally don't do this when playing Guardians of the Rift, but you can try doing this when you want to grind a few games. Okay, that was a mouthful, but I warned you guys that I take my runecrafting method seriously. The next ones are not going to be as long because they're pretty straightforward, and we are moving on to fishing with a new item that made it into the game by the name Diabolic Worms. And these are simply give you a better catch rate for anglerfish in Piscarelius. As most of you know, doing this is one of the slowest activities in the game, on par with mining amethyst and chopping redwoods, just to mention a few. These are a hot commodity though, because raw anglerfish can only be caught here and sometimes dropped by scutism, whereas cooked anglerfish only comes from cooking them, as well as the Leviathan and the brutal black dragons. So needless to say, most anglers in the game literally just come from Piscarelius, and the Diabolical Worms come to aid all the fishing enjoyers. It took me almost 7 minutes to fish a full inventory of these, and after 10 minutes I only caught 38 of them, leading to around a 300k profit per hour by doing this normally. On the other hand, a full inventory with Diabolical Worms as bait only took 3 minutes and 30 seconds. In 10 minutes, I caught 66, so an expected almost 400 per hour. Right now, these cost about 500 GP a pop, meaning that each angler will be about 900 GP. So an estimate 360k GP per hour, which is honestly not that bad. In terms of experience, with a regular sandworms, you're looking at about the usual 20 to 28k XP per hour, depending on how AFK you are, and if you pay a little more attention since you are fishing them faster, Diabolic Worms bumps this to around 30 to 35k XP per hour. This was mostly an update for iron accounts to get anglerfish faster, but main accounts can definitely find these new items attractive for a bit more GP per hour. Let's go over something interesting now, and we'll be making the new Surge Potion made from an unfinished Dorstal Potion, and a new item by the name Demonic Tallow. These will be dropped by Yama in a barrel full of them, much like how Seracnus drops a giant egg sack, and you can extract 100 red spider's egg from said item. Technically speaking, you can make around 2,500 potions per hour by doing the 14 and 14 method like most standard potions. And because Surge Potions provide 185 experience per item, we are talking about a theoretical 462k experience per hour. Now, keep in mind that this is just for science, and also for Ironman, because unlike other potions people normally train with, like Ceradome and Bruce, Surge Potions are untradeable, and both your Demonic Tallow and Dorstal Potions will be 100% loss. At the time of making this video, if you're crazy enough to do this for a full hour, you'll be losing nearly 55 million GP. So this is exclusively for you to keep a few potions in the bank for some PVM activities. I don't really know the reason behind making these untradeable other than maybe mitigate their use in PvP, since PKers will now have to skill for it, so if any of you know why Jagex did this, I would love to hear it in the description. The final segment we'll be looking at is mostly a moneymaker, because you'll be killing demons normally or even on a Slayer task in order to get a new special drop called Contracts. In short, these items will be like the Awakener's Orb from Desert Treasure to bosses, which players will be using to challenge a stronger version of Yama on their way to Radiant Oathblade. These have a slight catch to them, so let's see how to do it. Right before entering the Chasm of Fire, talk to the disciple of Yama outside, and he will tell you how to dispose of the demons so they can have a chance of dropping one of these contracts. You will need to deal the finishing blow with what you are told in order to try your luck at these new items. A purple star means that you will need to finish the demon with a heavy ranged weapon, meaning a ballista or a crossbow. Green means a spell not including a power staff, red means a special attack, blue means a two-handed melee weapon, and the yellow means killing the demon while it is affected by a binding spell. On screen, you can see how I attempted all of these with a relatively cheap gear, and for those of you max the players trying to AFK contracts, this GigaChat setup should yield the best result. It is not yet known how common these contracts are, but what we do know is that if you're on a Slayer task, these contracts should be more common, but not how much more common they will be. No matter their percentage increase, this is yet another brilliant move by Jagex to bring more life into areas of the game that might seem a little abandoned. And the Chasm of Fire is something more players could potentially visit on their Slayer task, or even on some AFK time for money making. One final thing to mention is that these demons can only drop 5 out of all of the available contracts, which are all needed to combine the item necessary to turn Oathplate armor into Radiant Oathplate. It would have been a little bit overpowered letting these demons drop contracts to guarantee Oathplate or even the pet, but one positive is that these contracts will almost always be needed by players looking to get the new flex armor in the game. So ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something useful. If you did, tell me what you think of any of these training methods, and if you include the term RSN and your username in your comment, you'll be entered in our weekly bond giveaway, for which we will pick a winner on Friday's stream. I want to give a Yama-sized thank you to all the people you see on screen for supporting the channel monetarily. My family and I cannot thank you enough for it, and it contributes to a local animal shelter we help every month. If you like what you see, click the join button below and consider funding this channel and receive a ton of benefits in the videos, in the live streams, and of course in the Discord. In the next one, we'll go over the question, should you get your 99 in the most profitable or the fastest way possible, and comparing which ones are worth and which ones aren't. For now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.